1862. Here we are at Antietam, the battle that has been described as a bare-knuckle back-alley brawl. Let us see how this plays out today. Jackson's artillery opens up on Sumner's troops. Sumner's troops are driven back. John Porter crosses below the upper bridge. The Union has opened with an advance all along the front. Burnside's troops contact Confederate troops first as they cross the bridge. They are thrown back with heavy casualties. Turn 2. Union artillery opens up on the Southern artillery, driving it off the hill in confusion. Union artillery opens up on the Confederates defending the Southern bridge, leaving them in confusion as the artillery is pulled back. McClellan moves forward and unpacks one baggage train. Let's talk for a minute about baggage trains in pub battles and their significance. Baggage trains have two functions. 1. An unpacked baggage train allows a unit within range to recover from spent. Without baggage trains, your army won't last in combat. The kicker with that is once you unpack a baggage train, it remains unpacked and immobile for the rest of the game. If you pack it up, you lose. If the enemy contacts it, you lose. Pub battles doesn't use geographic objectives for victory. You decide where those geographic objectives are when you unpack your bags. That becomes the point the battle is fought over. Burnside's men recover. John Porter's mighty 5th Corps advances. Longstreet falls back from Sumner's division as his troops on the hill begin a long-range small arms fire at the approaching Union troops. And he threatens the Union left as he moves across the lower fords. On the Union right, Mansfield's orders were to advance but not to engage, and that's what he does. Hooker slams into Jackson's troops just north of Sharpsburg. The Southern troops fall back under a determined Union assault. Franklin's 6th Corps arrives. McClellan originally had intended to send them north to strengthen the Union right, but with Longstreet's 1st Corps storming across the south, he sends them south. McClellan sends word to Pleasanton to turn around and head south. John Porter comes alive and attacks the hills south of the Dunker Church. Late morning and there's a lot of combat. McLaw's division takes heavy losses. They are out of action for the rest of this battle. With heavy casualties, Longstreet has called off his attack here in the south. But one of the effects of this southern attack is orders have been sent and troops pulled off of the northern attack. And this has essentially wrong-footed the Union assault, sapping strength in the north, sending it to the south so nothing is happening in the south because they're en route. We'll have to see how this plays out. Sumner's attack south of Sharpsburg. With heavy losses, Sumner's largely green corps is driven back. Hooker's 4th Corps cannot be stopped. Jackson's Corps suffers heavy casualties. John Porter brushes aside the thin Confederate line along the hill. Although the surprise southern assault across the southern fords seemed like a good idea at the time, after incurring heavy losses, Longstreet regrets the move. Combined with Jackson's losses in the north, you now have 3 eliminated blocks for the Confederate Army, and they can only sustain 5 before they break. Union has 2, but they can sustain 8. It's around lunchtime, and it does not look good for the South. Jackson sounds a bugle to fall back. Now the cavalry has a job to cover the retreat. Mansfield, following his orders, continues his pressure without actually attacking in the north. Gee, maybe it'd be nice if he would attack. Although with the South's precipitous retreat, he wouldn't be able to catch them. John Porter chases the cavalry off the hill. Stuart's cavalry moves to cover the infantry's retreat south of the Rohrbach Bridge. Burnside does not believe he has the luxury of time to recover all his troops, and he sends a division to the hill across the southern bridge. Union artillery opens up on Stuart's cavalry, but Stuart's elite cavalry is not afraid. Pleasanton's cavalry is held up behind Franklin's corps. Alright, midday combat. Of course, Stuart's cavalry, having done their job, held back the Union lines, pull back. Hooker's First Corps presses forward and encounters the Southern artillery, destroying it. Remember, the only casualties that count for victory are infantry. We still have 3 of 5. Turn 5, mid-afternoon, Pleasanton's cavalry continues its end run. Now what I did here is I drew Mansfield. Mansfield's orders were to just not to engage but just to watch. But things have changed quite a lot, and I said, well, I wonder if Mansfield would see the writing on the wall and attack. I rolled a die. If I rolled high enough, if I rolled a hit, it meant he went for it. I rolled a 4, he went for it. He committed his troops. A.P. Hill's corps arrives to save the day. He deploys in line. Jackson hides his bag behind A.P. Hill, as the rest of his command continues falling back. Hooker's troops press forward. With irrational exuberance, Burnside presses his troops to attack. Swarmed by Union troops, the Southern cavalry falls back. John Porter gives chase, but he can't catch him. Franklin prepares to follow up any success Burnside might have. Artillery battery on the hill keeps firing on the retreating cavalry, hurrying them along. Union artillery opens up on the southern lines south of Sharpsburg, but they are not effective. Burnside's spent division attacks the rested elite of Longstreet's corps, and they are lost. Though Burnside is now across the bridge in strength, Hooker's attacks on the retreating Southerners. Although Hooker's men are spent, they have managed to exhaust Jackson's corps. Jackson's corps has taken 50% casualties and they can no longer recover from spent status. Turn 6, late afternoon. McClellan gets it together and gets the artillery firing, driving the Confederates back from Harper's Ferry Road. Secure in his success thus far, McClellan begins bringing the bags forward. John Porter drives around Sharpsburg. Stuart's cavalry does all they can to contain him. Stuart's cavalry holds them off and then rides off themselves. The tired remnants of Hooker's corps run into A.P. Hill's division. A.P. Hill's division inflicts heavy casualties before falling back. And Meade's division mops up some Southern stragglers. It's now early evening. Can the South hold without breaking? Late in the day, Longstreet unpacks bags. We're gonna hold here. A.P. Hill takes advantage of the unpacked bags and brings his division up to strength. Burnside is on fire and orders another attack. John Porter is again delayed by Stuart's cavalry screen. Pleasanton's cavalry meets stiff resistance crossing the stream. But not wanting to fight here, Walker holds him up and pulls his division back. Heavy fighting, all the Southern artillery is lost. Union does take heavy casualties, but at this point the South cannot sustain any more heavy casualties. Jones falls back to the bags. Alright, it's come down to the last turn, last effort of the day. Can the South hold off a Union major victory? Not if I can help it, cries Porter as his 5th Corps slams into Hood's Texans. Union artillery once again engages in their favorite sport of hunting horse, as Stuart's cavalry is spent. Hood's Texans stop Porter's advance and then fall back. Jackson's spent troops are by the bags, but they're an exhausted corps and they cannot recover any longer this battle. Sumner's boys are rested and ready to fight and they drive on the bags. Stuart would like his cavalry to flank attack that, but that would leave them dangerously exposed to this swarm of Union infantry. They'll hold their position. Burnside's last group of men attack the southern lines. Hooker pushes Doubleday forward. He says, "Push him, I think we got him." Very end of the day, Pleasanton finally gets a hold of Stuart's men. Mansfield brings his forces forward and protects the bags. The final moments of the day as the sunlight recedes. What happens? Stuart bloodies the Union nose and falls back. Walker falls back. Hood's Texans, in a valiant defense of the bags, drive Sumner's corps back. And finally, Stuart's cavalry, Lee's cavalry division, push back Hooker's corps. So the battle ends. The Confederate Army lost 4 infantry blocks. The Union Army lost 6. The Confederates lost all their artillery. In the night, Lee escapes along his supply line, his line of communication off the board. Good game. Thank you so much for watching this. Please like and subscribe.